Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And I wanted to respond to all the questions that you guys have sent me. I've gotten so many questions for my new Ask Peter little segment over here that I'm doing. I've gotten a lot of comments where you guys have asked me to address certain situations, and I really appreciate it. And that was my plan for today. I had picked one out and everything that I was going to read, and I was going to respond to, but I came up here and I forgot that I had just started uploading a video on my phone, so I don't have my phone to use, so my phone is downstairs, and I can't upload a video and look at it at the same time. So I was like, you know what, we'll do the meditations today, and then tomorrow or the next day, we'll get back into the Ask Peter thing. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I think it was 2 weeks ago or something like that, I said I was going to start a new segment over here. Segment like I am a newscaster or something. I was going to start this new thing over here, this new segment. I don't know what else to call it. New segment where I you guys ask me questions and I just give suggestions or talk about it like I would a meditation, but just based on, personal experience in my life. Nothing, no expert opinion, just personal experience in my life. And so many of you guys reached out to me. I really appreciate it. A lot of you left comments on my videos, asking me to address certain topics. And then I got a lot of direct messages from people. So if you guys want to, on this video, leave any comments that you guys would like me to address in a video and do a Ask Peter video. I think the one I did last was on being ghosted. Somebody asked me to address that, so I did. And then I will make a video about it. Whatever your question is, or what you guys, if it's just a specific topic, something to do with anything really, I always say recovery or grief or relationships or friendships or whatever, but I mean anything really, just that you guys want me to talk about. Just put it in the comment section below. If you're not comfortable doing that, direct message me on Instagram or send it to my email that's listed below, and then I will make a video about that. But today we're going to do a meditation. It feels like it's been a long time since I've done a meditation over here. So let's get into it. So I brought both of the Melody Beatty books with me today. It is April 20th. It is a very relaxing day in Indianapolis. It's like pouring down rain, and then it stops for a little bit, and then it's pouring down rain, and then it stops for a little bit. It's very cloudy. It's cooler than it's been the last couple days. So it's a perfect day for, I need some tea or something, some green tea, so I can read a meditation and just kind of relax my mind a little bit. Okay, so let's get into it. I just looked at it and I pulled open May 15th and I was like, oh no, it's not, the year is going by so quick, isn't it? May 20th. Let's see what it says over here. Sadness. Oh, that's an interesting one. We could do that one. May 19th, solving problems. Self-love, living our lives, boundaries, taking risks, honesty. Let's actually just talk about sadness today. I think it's an important topic to talk about. Sadness, May 20th. Ultimately, to grieve our losses means to surrender to our feelings. So many of us have lost so much, have said so many goodbyes, have been through so many changes. We may want to hold back the tides of change, not because the change isn't good, but because we have had so much change, so much loss. Sometimes when we are in the midst of pain and grief, we become short-sighted, like members of a tribe described in the movie Out of Africa. If you put them in prison, one character said, describing this tribe, they die. Why? Asked another character. Because they can't grasp the idea that they'll be let out one day. They think it's permanent, so they die. Many of us have so much grief to get through. Sometimes we begin to believe grief or pain is a permanent condition. The pain will stop. Once felt and released, our feelings will bring us to a better place than where we started. Feeling our feelings, instead of denying or minimizing them, is how we heal from our past and move forward into a better future. Feeling our feelings is how we let go. It may hurt for a moment, but peace and acceptance are on the other side. So is a new beginning. God, help me fully embrace and finish my ending so I may be ready for my new beginnings. It's a really great meditation, I think. I always just kind of go with my gut of what I'm thinking about. I'm sitting here thinking about my parents. I am really grateful that I came from parents and, the extended family and friends of my parents that really supported, I think, feeling and sharing your emotions and your feelings. And I think that that's important. And so, when I was sad as a kid, I was asked about being sad, and it wasn't pushed down, don't be sad and things like that. If you're going to cry, and, and I have different memories about different things with each of my parents, but especially I think my mom was somebody that, you know, that was something we talked about, was being sad. I don't have a problem today saying something that makes me sad or something hurt my feelings or I'm upset about something. I think that's normal. I think that's natural in life. And it's kind of like the language that I speak to some degree. Maybe it's partly from recovery too. I think I probably got more of it from recovery than I did actually from growing up. You know, I mean, I can't even tell you how many conversations I've had with like my best friend and of 27, almost 28 years, where she'll be like, how are you doing today? And I'll say, I'm just sad, you know, or she'll say the same thing. I'm just kind of feeling sad today. You know, like my feelings got hurt about this or whatever. And I think that's totally normal and that's totally natural. I think we live in in a world where sadness or saying that your feelings are hurt or that maybe things didn't go the way that you wanted to is seen as a sign of weakness. And I can understand how that's perceived that way. But I also think that you have to like take a step back and realize that you're not really competing with a whole lot of other people in the world for your emotional stance of where you're at. You know, it's really all about you and what your life looks like. I know that when I'm sad and I allow myself to feel sad and I allow myself to kind of feel the feelings, it allows me to kind of move through the other side. You know, in talking about grief, since our last dog, Boo Radley, has passed away, I've had just these ranges of grief that are so strange that come and go, you know, and this morning, Alex was getting up for work and he was getting ready and it was like thunderstorming outside. I could see the lightning and whatever, you know, and I said to him, I said, this is one of the mornings when, like, if you would go to work, me and Boo Radley would, like, cuddle together, you know, like, from the storms, because Boo Radley didn't like storms at all. And it just kind of made me sad for a moment. But then, as I started thinking about it, the sadness turned into, you know, I still every night say prayers for, you know, Pee-Pee, Boo, and Tucker, and I'm so grateful for the life that we had with them and the experiences that we had for them. And I also in my prayer say that I'm grateful for whatever dog that we're going to get next, that we're going to rescue next, whenever that's going to happen. But I think, like, for me to just push down those feelings and be like, no, I'm not sad about it. You know, I think it stops me from being allowed to grow. Instead of, you know, and I think the ability to be able to have said to people in my life, like, I'm sad, like, this hurt me, or that hurt me, or my friend's saying that to me, I think it bonds us to each other as human beings. As human beings with emotion, we're going to be hurt. We're going to feel let down. We're going to have our feelings hurt from time to time. If we act like that doesn't exist, then what we're acting like is that we're not human. Those are human feelings. Those are human emotions. You know, I was talking to somebody the other day about one of my friends. We were talking about, she was telling me something about her husband, and we were talking about how we, like, you know, sometimes, like, you get your expectation, like, they're planning a trip or whatever, and she was talking about, you know, like, having this conversation about planning the trip and how their expectations were different, and that sometimes it's like you can get sad just in a moment of that, of like how you imagine something is not how you imagine. And I said, well, what happened? She's like, I talked to him about it, you know, and then he was like, oh, I don't want you to feel that way. But I think that talking to each other about how your feelings and your emotions are is really, really vital to allowing yourself to grow. Now, what has to come before that is building relationships that are trustworthy enough and that you trust the person and you feel safe enough to be able to share their emotions. I don't have people in my life today that I don't trust or that I don't feel like I can share my emotions with, you know? And listen, I've been burnt a lot in my life by sharing my emotions and my feelings with people and then having it, you know, later, like, you know, that's happened to me a lot. I had this thought the other day. I was talking about, maybe I talked about it in my vlog, but I think I was talking about it with friends too. It's like, you know, I always talk about how small my circle is and how small my group is. And, you know, it's like, I have, you know, my cousin Caroline, my husband, my sponsor, my best friend Tanya Jean. I have, you know, a couple other friends that I talk to, you know, on a daily basis, but not a lot of people in my life. My in-laws, you know, some other friends that I see, you know, sober friends and things like that. But I don't have tons of people in my life. And, you know, whenever I say that, there's always kind of like, I always feel like there's kind of like this sadness that comes along with, like, I don't have a lot of people in my life. But at the same time, the people that I do have in my life, I know that I've got their back and they've got mine. And I know that I can trust them implicitly. And if I called any of them and they have called me bawling or crying over just being hurt or being sad about a situation or missing my dog or whatever it is, you know, in that moment, that they're there for me and they don't judge me. And so you have to build safe relationships first so that you can feel that you can be that with somebody and you can open up to them. Because if you don't feel like you can open up to somebody, then you're not going to feel like you can share being sad with them. But I think we also live in this world where sadness is equated to that you feel like, and I'm not talking about clinical depression. That's completely something different. That's a clinical diagnosis, a clinical term. I'm talking about sadness, where you feel like you're never going to get out of this. And I can remember years and years ago about hearing the saying that the sun shall rise again. And it's like, when I've looked back on my life, I've had many periods of my life where I've been very, very sad, or breakups that I've gone through, and I thought I'm never going to get over this person. And then I did, and I use those as points of reference to realize that whatever I'm going through today, whatever's making me sad today, I'm going to get through it eventually. I'm not going to be in this position, like the meditation said, for the rest of my life. At some point, I am going to get through this. I'm going to feel better than I do today. And I think that that's vital, Okay, so I want to read also from Journey to the Heart, since I haven't made a meditation over here in a while. So let's read from Journey to... Oh, I went to July 27th. No, we don't want to fast forward through summer already. May 20th. Let's see. Oh, listen to the music. It's tomorrow. What's this one? Value the fragrance of the universes. Oh, I like that one, but maybe not for today. Oh, let's do this one. Love all of yourself. I like this one. Well, I don't remember it, but I like the title of it. May 18th. Love all of yourself. Do more than just accept yourself, tolerate yourself, put up with yourself, endure who you are, love yourself. There came a time in my life when I simply could no longer put up with putting up with myself. I had talked about self-love. I had said out loud that I loved myself. The words were good, but they didn't ring true. I had to actually begin experiencing and practicing love for myself. It became the next step on my path. To live in magical way, one in which you connect with the universe, loving yourself isn't optional. It comes first. To hear the quiet voice of your heart so you know when you're being led. To hear your thoughts so you can see what you really believe. To trust and open your heart, you must first experience love for yourself. Have you abandoned yourself? Oh, wow. What a powerful question. I know I have at times. Let yourself see if that's true. Feel if that's true. Then learn to experience love for yourself. Learn to love the way you handle things. Love your unique way of learning, growing, and seeing things. Love where you've been. Love what you've done. Love where you are and what you're doing now. Love how you look, smell, and feel. Love the color of your eyes, the color of your hair, and the radiance in your heart. Love how you laugh. Love how you cry. Love your mistakes. And love all the good you've done. Love it all. Love all of you. Step into love for yourself, and the universe will reflect that love back to you. This idea of like self-love is something that I've thought about I think probably even before I got sober, but definitely since I got sober. And I think it's easy to say like I love myself, I think it's a question I've had to ask myself a lot. Like, I love myself, but maybe I don't treat myself like I would treat somebody that I loved. I think it's a powerful question. Do you treat yourself, if you really do love yourself, do you treat yourself in the same way that you would treat somebody that you love? Do you give yourself the same consideration that you would give somebody that you love? Or are you harder and more critical on yourself than somebody that you typically love? Because if that's the case, then maybe you're withholding love from yourself. And I think that can be dangerous. I've really had to ask myself that question. It's like, I'm maybe more forgiving of other people than I'm forgiving of myself. I'm maybe more compassionate to other people than I am of myself. I'm definitely more critical of myself than I am of other people. In my head, I am my worst critic. And I have been, And so I wouldn't say today I am my worst critic. I would say that today I've worked really hard on it. And it comes up at times. I'm better at it today than I have been in the past. But I remember getting out of treatment. I've shared this a lot. When I got out of treatment and I got, the coin for graduating the program 30 years ago, and over 30 years ago now. And it said, you must first be a value to yourself before you can be a value to somebody else. And I think that so directly links to loving, it's like the idea of you got to love yourself before you can love anybody else. Well, you do. I mean, you can't really conceptualize what love is unless you love yourself first. And I think we sometimes love ourselves last. And I think that's sad, and for some of us, because we've had things said to us or things done to us and had horrible childhoods and horrible relationships and whatever, it's like the undoing of all of that we've had to work through our entire lives to learn to love ourselves. What are you waiting for? You're not going to be here forever. That should be the number one thing you're working on because you deserve it. And if you're going through a really, really hard time right now, just know that at some point the sun shall shine again. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video.